Hello, welcome everyone. Welcome to the second episode. This is Beyond the Bottom Line podcast, two conversations about business, life, and what really matters. Today with me is going to be, actually, my guest today is going to be a young, ambitious lady. And it was my pleasure to meet her on one of BNI meetings. And I would love her to tell more about herself. I don't want to waste my words and time. She's going to do that way better. Today with me is Sarah
Venable.
Venable.
Yes.
Sorry for that. Venable. How are you, Sarah?
I'm good. It's been a day. How are
Right?
you? It's a great way to wrap up a day.
Yeah, after all these holidays, now it's time kind of just to go back to working mode and
Truly.
kind of now
Yeah.
accelerate with business and all these different things. So, like for the beginning, like, would you mind to share about your background and what did you actually study in college?
Yeah. So I am originally, I don't know if we're talking about where I'm from and stuff,
Yeah,
but
you can do that.
yeah, I'm from Tennessee. I was a dancer all my life, actually. Always had family in business. I always kind of knew that's the direction I'd go in. But went to college at Kentucky to dance. So I was a dancer in college. Did that for a while, studied marketing and management, and international business, all while I was at Kentucky. So ton of different branches of business there. Studied abroad in Italy for a while. I don't know if I told you about that.
No,
but
I don't know that.
did that for a little bit.
What
for
was the city?
Florence.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
yeah, I've been tour guide there like for a few years.
Yeah,
I love Florence.
I lived in Florence. It was actually right after COVID, or it was kind of like right when COVID let up. So we couldn't go beyond Italy. So during that time, we just went everywhere in Italy.
That's
so like
awesome.
Amalfi Coast, Venice, Vienna, like everywhere. So
Did you eat more pork in Florence than pizza?
honestly, so I ate a lot of pizza.
Uh-huh.
I ate a lot of steak, actually.
I mean, they're big in pork. Like, I was surprised. First time when I went there, they're like, do you want porchetta, which is
Yeah.
pork, right? Do you want sandwich from pork? Do you want this from pork? Do you want that from pork? I was like, where's pizza here?
Yeah, that's what I want. That's why you come here. No,
That's awesome.
that's interesting. I remember eating a lot of steak and I was so confused because you had to like order it a specific way. But yeah, I did that. That was a really I can tell you about that experience too with business class there because it was just so different compared to just college at UK. But then when I got back, because of the pandemic, I wasn't dancing as much. So like we would do football games, basketball games, other stuff. So kind of to take up my time, I got a job at a fitness studio. If you've heard of Orange Theory, I told you
Yep.
that. But I started as a sales rep there. So that was kind of like my first experience in sales. And then from there, dance kind of picked back up. I still worked as a sales associate, and they always said like, hey, like you take the classes here. We think you'd be a really great coach. You should coach for us. And I'd always say, well, I don't have time because of my dance schedule. And then the minute I stopped dancing, I became a coach and loved that. So I was a fitness coach there for a while, wrapped up my degree at UK, kind of just planned to stay in Kentucky for a while and coach for a year, take like a gap year in a sense, because I was coaching like 6 days a week. But it wasn't until one of the members that I coached came up to me and they were like, hey, like you just got your business degree. You should interview for this company. It's his daughter worked for the company. And I just knew that I was going to say yes to anything that came my way. Like I was kind of set on coaching, but I was like, whatever interviews come up or opportunities, I'm going to say yes and at least interview, practice. Interviewed for the job and ended up being the first job that I took. So I moved to Nashville immediately and got an apartment, started the job within a month later. And now
That's
I'm
amazing. And like when you're about to start college or during the college, did you picture yourself in sales or like could you imagine yourself doing that role or it wasn't on your radar at all?
It was not on my radar. I never the word sales to me always just meant like medical sales. That's kind of what always came to mind, even though I'd already been doing sales for the
No, like a
fitness.
car sales or something?
Yeah, you'd think that. I don't know. But I always thought I'd go into marketing just because that was my degree. But I'll say I didn't really enjoy it that much. I liked the management degree side a little bit more, just because I think that's where like the coach comes in. I love to teach people, kind of show people how something's done, get good at something, and pass that along. And just, I was, a captain on the dance team, a dance teacher, always kind of took like a leadership mentor position. So I think that's why I like the management part more, and that still kind of comes into play today too.
That's awesome.
So,
And I was like few years ago started researching marketing a little bit more because for my businesses that I had at that time back home in Serbia. But I was already in sales, and what I figured there is a lot of common things between sales and marketing. The way how, like, long story short, like how I see that is maybe in both ways you have to kind of understand people. You have to know
yeah.
what people want, how to approach people. It's just different way. So in sales, like, you kind of handle objection as the conversation goes.
Yeah.
Where in marketing you kind of have to do all that in advance.
Yeah.
And you said that once you started doing marketing, you didn't like it as much, but
Yeah.
you stuck with sales. So what part of marketing you didn't like, and what part of sales kind of you start liking, and how do you see
Good
that?
question. I think I love just the conversation of sales. To me, and like I'm so far out of marketing now, it's like I barely remember half the stuff I learned.
Like previous life.
Yeah, marketing was just a lot more like analytical and looking at numbers and strategy. And I think the part just where I kind of resonated with sales is just being able to talk to people and just kind of hear their story and meet their needs where they are. Marketing to me was just a lot of like looking at results and strategizing from there. And then with sales, like I just meet so many different people from different backgrounds and like get to hear their stories. And, I didn't realize it at the time, but I feel like my personality is a little more of a fit for sales. Just, I'm not afraid to talk to anyone when I walk into a room. Sometimes that has its kickbacks. You never know I'll say anything, but yeah, I think the minute I like interviewed for a sales job and saw that could be a direction I'd go in, I was like, why didn't I think about this before?
That's
this
awesome.
kind of takes like the analytical part out.
And when we were talking like one few days ago, and you mentioned that basically like you see yourself as a salesperson and you think you're in some way talented for that. So in your approach, which sales, like, it's such a huge area, like, and everyone has different schools of thought, approaches, and different things when it comes to sales. But what do you consider for you when you said that you had talent for sales? What is the most important part in sales, in your opinion, and what was the part of your personality that kind of helped you the most?
Yeah, kind of goes along with what I was saying, like just being able to walk in, the first thing about sales you learn is create rapport. Build rapport. So really just being able to just see, I work with small businesses, so just kind of see like where a business owner is at in their current situation. Like, are they brand new? Like, how are they a tenured business? What have they, done before as far as like their back office? And, just creating the conversations around that. But I might have to take a pause right here on this one. I kind of lost my train of thought.
But like when it comes to sales, like before you even start doing that, right?
Yeah.
Any person.
Yeah.
We all have different way how we see sales, right? And what sales means to us.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, like, I was always connecting sales with bad to say, but car salespeople.
Yeah.
And also, like, I'm not gonna name the company, but like all these guys who are selling these powders for fitness and weight loss and stuff like that, which in my opinion, that's not the way to go in sales. And these people I feel like are the reason why the whole industry actually has a bad reputation.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, I was reading some book about Sandler methodology, and now very popular Jeremy Miner, which I love. I gotta send you that link. And they basically changed my perception when it comes to sales. It's more like how they say at one moment, they said, like, you're almost like a doctor. You have to kind of collect all the information from your customer. Process that, connect that with your products that you have, and see how to merge your product with what they need, actually find the best solution. Kind of not let them to waste their time researching, but you're there to help them. And that kind of changed my perspective on that. So when you're first starting doing working in sales, what was the biggest surprise for you in terms of like, yeah, I didn't know that this is what we people do in sales. I love this. And on the flip side, what was the thing that you're like, oh my God, I love this. Sky's the limit. I
Yeah.
can make a bunch of money in the first few months. As an example, doesn't
Yeah.
have to be that part that you start hating that part about sales.
Yeah. So, I mean, even with the company that I work for, I went in just thinking I was selling one thing. Turns out I was selling a lot of things. So it was kind of the trial and error of first, just like learning the product. I remember when I first got in there, I started along with a few other people, and I just knew I was like, I want to be the best. I've always kind of had that mentality. So I really just put my head down and tried to learn the product first. And I soon kind of learned just the fast pace of the industry, because like when I was selling for the fitness company, like there wasn't a lot of pressure behind it, but now I had a quota and, I had a base salary, but also like I really needed that commission. So I learned the product as fast as I could. And kind of, I always knew that I could just walk up to anyone and talk to them, but, like you said, there's such like a stigma around sales and salespeople. I quickly got knocked on my butt so many times. Like you walk into a place and, they don't see you for who you are. They see you just as a salesperson. So something I've learned is that sales is an emotional process for lots of the buyers. If you like, the sooner you can kind of identify, I mean, you always hear pain points and stuff in sales, but truly, like, nothing is perfect. No product is perfect. So when you can go in there and kind of, maybe they're happy with what they have now, but, identify maybe that one area where they wish that they could have more. It's all about just kind of connecting with them and, learning about what they do and, kind of talking about that one more thing that they could have. And then also you're selling yourself as a salesperson. Like I knew I could do that going in. The hard part that I didn't like was just kind of, that initial stigma around sales and the pushback. But through it, I've just learned if you just be kind to people and stay true to yourself throughout the whole entire thing, not only are you not letting yourself down, you remain yourself through the whole process, but you learn to enjoy the job just a little bit more. I don't know if that made sense, but
perfect
yeah,
sense.
it's a few things.
And like, because there's always, I mean, different people think different, right? And a lot of people, they just kind of think that way, and they're like, yeah, if you have that personality and if you're extrovert, you're gonna make in sales.
Yeah.
And if you're an introvert, then you're gonna struggle, right?
Yeah.
So when there's no cameras, when I'm not working and all the stuff, I'm introvert.
Yeah.
But I love actually working with people. But that for me is enough.
Yeah.
But in the flip side, I've seen a lot of people who are extrovert and they like to talk, but they're not necessarily the best salespeople, right? So in your situation, like, do you relate a lot on your personality, or do you also kind of go through some techniques, or do you even study that, like different methodologies, and is that important for you, or you're really like naturally gifted and you can do that?
Gosh, it became more important over time. When I first started, I was solely relying on personality. I was like, okay, I can go in and talk to anyone. It's funny, as you're explaining that, I always think about how there's like, from what I've seen, two different types of salespeople. There's many different types of salespeople, but there's two that I think of. There's the one that, literally just follows the steps that you're supposed to do. Like when I walked in, and my company luckily did an intense like 8-week training to start out. And you're always training when it comes to sales. You're always learning new ways to sell a product. And, lots of it is psychologically driven. Yeah. I don't know. But there's a salesperson that, literally follows these steps that they are given from the company, and it works for them. And they sell so much and they make so much money. I, however, am a fly by the seat of my pants kind of person and rely on my personality. But over time, I have learned, I need to try different strategies, especially when I started to sell a few more things. Like as I kind of took on more responsibility, it was like, okay, you sell something, but then I also account manage too. So just having the knowledge behind your product, like I learned over time that, all of that stuff is important. And when it comes to strategy, luckily, my company does do a great training program. They're constantly training us. I was on a training call today, and I'm 3 years in, So, But, there's podcasts. I'm always taking podcast recommendations, but books to read too. And I drive a lot for my job. So when I'm driving down the road, listening to podcasts, even can start listening more to this podcast once we get more
That would be
episodes out.
preferred.
Yeah, that would be preferred.
Yeah.
I'd love to.
Yeah, and for me, like I found that like you just said, that moment when you're driving all the time, and I was like, yeah, why I'm not listening music anymore, to be honest with you, which might be a bad part because you kind of lose that soft side of your personality.
Mm-hmm.
But
I do that all the time.
right,
I will be in a meeting and it's overstimulating, or you're just talking to someone for so long, then you get out and you're looking at them, you get out and then you're on the road. Silence. I used to like call my mom. Now I'm like, I just need to be in silence for a second.
And then if I do something, it's always some podcast and it's always some like learning stuff, which most of the people were like, oh my gosh, again, you with all these boring stuff. Yeah, but I know it's just like, I feel like the moment you start learning, but not like you start learning, you kind of go downside, like people always say, obviously that's what's happening, but we cannot always be on top and always learning, always do something. Like you have also your life, which is not business, right?
Yeah.
But I think that in the moment, like you're not really investing anything in your knowledge, especially when it comes to sales, like you start losing it basically. And do you feel like maybe now after holidays, if you didn't practice anything when it comes to sales, you didn't go over your scripts or whatever your approach is, do you feel that you kind of lose after a while, or it takes you a few days to get back?
It's funny because I made a call yesterday. So many people didn't answer. The week coming back, like that Monday, I would call people. Everyone was in a terrible mood because it was that first day back to work. I was like, I chose the wrong day to cold call. But yesterday I made a call, had a good conversation with the lady on the phone. She was super nice. And it got to the point where I was like, wow, like, she's actually listening to what I'm saying, and
She's fresh.
I am starting the sales process currently. My heart started pounding. I was like, I feel like I haven't done this in forever, but it had only been like 2 weeks. So I think refreshers are good all the time. I don't know. Like I said, we hop on trainings with my company. That helps, but over time, I do think you can get kind of comfortable in your what's the word?
I know.
Comfortable
I'm not
in your process. Sorry, comfortable in your process, which
sense.
I saw that last year too. I got very comfortable in my process. I was to the point where I was saying the same things over and over again. Just happened to have, I guess, the same scenarios with clients and dealing with that. But I work with clients in multiple states and have to deal with things that come with those states. So currently, I'm having just to switch up my process and jump through hoops, and always just learning different ways to just make things happen. So.
And at this point, you have your team that you manage as well, right?
Yes. I'm not actually a manager. I'm in like a leadership position. So on like a manager track, I do have a manager. He's currently out on paternity leave. They just had a baby. So awesome. I've kind of stepped in and am helping out, AKA taking calls from reps all the time, kind of walking them through where I was 2.5 years ago, just being brand new, right out of school, kind of just dealing with the everyday no's and just the sales process. Once you finally get that yes, what do you do now? So walking them through it.
But also, like, that's interesting. Like, since you're really young for business world, like, do you have anybody who's older than you in your team, and that they're like in your network that you have to mentor them or something like that?
Right now, no. So, I mean, I have my manager, so I don't mentor him. On other teams, so there's 3 teams in my office. There are 2 other teams where there are people my age, maybe a little bit older. But the way that my team is kind of panned out now, I'm the oldest, I think. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I'm the oldest one. So that kind of helps. But yeah, last year there were a few people that were older than me. They kind of just did their own thing, and it was one of those things where didn't really mess with it, but we still ask questions to each other.
That's all. And like, what do you see that people who are coming to your team and they're young, just fresh out of college, like, what is their biggest struggle? Like, is it something that is related to sales, like with all these techniques, how they're going to do that, find leads, prospects, whatever, or is more their mindset that
Yeah.
is an issue, or do you have to tweak that part a little bit?
Yeah, I think it's everything. And, I say this, and this was me, 2.5 years ago. I was the same exact way. But you come out of college, most of them have moved to a new city. They started their first big boy, big girl job, and they are constantly, immediately facing rejection. They were in school, they had friends, they were comfortable, they maybe even had a job there that they were comfortable with. They're immediately facing rejection. They're hit with all these products. They don't know what half the stuff is that they're selling. They've never even had to deal with it nor know what it is, So there's, the everyday life, balancing work and life while trying to learn all the work stuff and just being hit by all that, like drinking out of a fire hose, like people say. There's the rejection that comes with it. So really just kind of taking it day by day with them. And I always just tell them like, hey, you're taking on a lot at once. You don't have to know all of this immediately. I didn't know it all immediately. I'm still learning today. There's so many things that I'm learning, weeks from now. I know more today than I knew 2 weeks ago, So kind of reassuring them of that and holding their hand when I can, but also like asking them hard questions and helping them become like self-sufficient and just answering these things for themselves. Half the time they know the answer. Like I'll have a rep walk up to me and they'll be like, hey, like, what do I need to do right now at this point in the process? And I'm like, well, what do you think? Tell me what you think first. And they know it. They just feel like they've taken on so much information and then they're like trying to make friends, trying to have a social life. Like I dealt with it too, trying to stay active and take care of themselves. So it's a process. It takes a while, but kind of just having that empathy for them there. But also, like I will say, I'm kind of hard on them because when I started,
I mean, you gotta be a little bit, because like I feel like you have to put them in some like to show them where to go, right? And how to behave, what to expect. And it seems like sales is everything opposite that one human needs, actually, when it comes to, like, you don't want to be rejected. You don't want to hear no like 100 times a day. You want to feel that you have some value, right? And then like you're walking all around doing crazy stuff, chasing clients, and then at the end of the week, if you see 0, you're like, oh my gosh, there's no paycheck, there's no nice words from your manager. And being young, and if you don't know who you are, and there's also a huge part, I still struggle with that. And you tell me what you do, like. And that's actually maybe more for my therapist than for podcast.
I'll be a therapist right now.
But I kind of connect my success in job with my identity, which is not good, right? So if I'm bad in my job, I think I'm worthless.
Yeah.
But do you struggle with that?
Maybe at first. It's so funny, just what you were saying a second ago. It's like in sales, you can have weeks on weeks of just bad weeks and zeros. The minute that good thing happens, you're like back on top of the world. Yeah. It's funny. I see these like memes and stuff that's like, you just had a good meeting, but you didn't actually close the deal, and they're already at like a steak dinner, already celebrating their sale, even though it didn't actually happen. But, I'm a religious person, so I lean into my faith a lot for that. And that is what, kind of keeps me sane and helps me get through the day to day. So, I try to take care of myself, make sure I've gotten better at this over time. If you would have asked Sara this time a year ago, I was working until 7 p.m. every night, waking up at 5 a.m. and getting back on my computer just because of the grind. Because I just had so much to do. Always felt like it was never enough. Like, I don't know if you feel that way.
Oh, yeah, all the time. Like,
spend all day.
When you're working, you're like, oh my God, I should take some break. When you're not working, you're like, oh my God, I should do something.
Yes.
It's always constant, like a conflict in your mind on what you should do, right?
That's the hardest part about sales, because it's like, I have so much respect for my friends that have other jobs and they work their butts off. But at the same time, like, you get to close your laptop at 5 most of the time. I know some can't, but like, and you have your list of things to do, and once you do it, you're done. But it's like, we have to go out and find our business, and it can be so stressful because you can do truly everything in your power to try to make things happen, and sometimes it just doesn't. And we always talk about just looking yourself in the mirror at the end of the day and saying, I've done everything I can do, like that's all you can do. And just being a believer in like it will come back around. Like if you truly are doing everything you can do, it will come back around. And I've seen that happen every time. Like very
Definitely.
rarely, like you can convince yourself you've done everything that you can do, but maybe you're not.
Yeah. I mean, that's 100%. Like, and I like that you said it. And obviously, different people, different approaches. Again, like I say that all the time because that's really how it is, right? I feel like there's no always like one answer that kind of fits to everyone,
Yeah.
and you have to find your way. But you definitely have to find a way.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're religious, like you have that approach. Somebody who's
Mm-hmm.
not, they have to find something else. Therapist helps, priests, pastors,
Yeah.
friends, family.
Yep.
Just being alone and be honest to yourself sometimes helps.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but you have to do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think like just going through sales, and again, like you're doing basically everything that is opposite from one human needs,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you
You
have
are.
to find a good way to. And what I admire in sales is that really that part that you just mentioned, like you're going out, you're looking for your business. Once you get your paycheck, that's what you really made,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why maybe I tied my like my identity with sales.
Yeah.
Might be,
True.
but but you that it's constant work. Like you have to
Yeah.
always tweak something in your mind, and I think like this that sales is more like, how to say that, it's more like a mindset game than
Mm-hmm.
anything else. Like you
Yeah.
can learn that. Like you learn your product. It's gonna take you like 3 months, 6 months, a
Mm-hmm.
year. You're gonna learn techniques, right? You're
Mm-hmm.
gonna hire the best coach. It's in a year he's gonna teach you. Like whole process can be maximum 2 years.
Yeah.
After that is only mindset. I feel like.
Yeah, I definitely think it takes, in lots of jobs too, I think it takes the first year, even 2 years, bust your butt, like work as hard as you can, because that's when the job gets easy. Learn as much as you can, create the relationships you need to create. Because if you don't do that, you're going to constantly be in that cycle of like, okay, I made this sale, but now I'm out. Like my pipeline's empty. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So if you really create, like make those relationships in the forefront, like even when you don't know what you're talking about, like just go make a relationship. That's why you work in sales, that stuff will pay off down the road. That's what I'm seeing now and what I try to tell my reps. Even in times where you're not seeing the actual sales or results, we always talk about just like your activity and your attitude, honestly, like keeping a positive attitude even when things
Mhm.
stink. But even when things stink, you can't stay positive. Like keep putting in your activity, keep seeing people, even when it's the last thing you want to do, because most of the time that does come back around.
Yeah, that's really true. And yesterday, I think I heard really good thought related to this, because they're like, uh, how they're saying like, you don't need motivation, because motivation is like something like you hear some motivation video in the morning, you hear some metal song and you're all pumped and you want to do it, but that motivation is like a balloon, right? It just
Yeah.
kind of disappears after 10 minutes, 2 hours, one day, a week,
So
it
many
doesn't matter.
highs and lows.
And many people say that actually the discipline is what keeps you
Exactly.
there, right? So
Consistency.
like when it comes to, for example, like training, like you've been in fitness world a lot,
Mm-hmm.
so maybe 1 out of 10 days you feel like I want to do it, but like
Yeah.
the rest you just do because that's your lifestyle, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But then I heard another thought that made me to think like a little bit deeper on this part, and they say it's not even the discipline, it's just like these little successes, right?
Yeah.
That's the part that actually keeps you.
Yep.
If you just
Small
keep doing
wins.
something and there's no you don't see any benefit, people go to burnout.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I think that part is super uh, hard to kind of manage,
Yeah.
that you have really some success, and also like what's your measurement.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you example from what I do, and then I'm gonna ask you how you approach that part. For example, like I in selling insurance and working with small and mid-sized businesses, the same thing
Mhm.
like you do, same clients, right?
Mhm.
So I put like my success for today. Like I know, for example, like that's the business I never talked to them, I never got in touch with them.
Mhm.
So my success is just if I go in there, say my name, and they don't kick me out.
Yeah. It's a
Right?
small wins.
Small win, I'm
Yeah.
happy. Next time, if I get there and the owner agrees to talk to me, that's another win. So that's what, if I put like from zero, and the only thing that I count is if I close the deal,
Yeah.
I would
That's
fucking go
you will
crazy.
not be happy. Yeah, you will not be happy.
Yeah.
That's what I talk about all the time. I feel like you're bringing all my sales training out of me right now, but it's all about the small wins. I remember that's what my boss told me when I first started. That's what I tell reps now. They'll be like, "Oh, well, like everyone said no to me today." And I'm like, "Okay, well, like what did you learn?" It's like, "Well, I learned that this business has this many employees." Win. That's a win. You literally you didn't know that when you walked in. You got that information out of them. Now you can use that when you follow up and go back. Maybe they've been afraid to walk into somewhere. I do a lot of like door to door. So, maybe they finally got that courage to walk in and just talk to someone and just like bring up the product, even if they fall on their face and fail, you still did that. If we're talking kind of more tenured, like where we are, like I didn't sell anything today, for example, but I had some really, really good meetings, went to my networking group, had some great conversations that will hopefully result in further sales. Once you kind of get to our level, it's like, okay, like I actually need to see the results. But I do still have days where I'm like, okay, kind of sucks right now. January is my busy season. Is it going slower than I anticipated? Yeah. But I am still trying to be consistent every day. You're so right when you say that, just like putting in the same effort every day, because that is how you see results. And just trying to keep a positive attitude and keep going, even when I'm just hating everything, just like making that one call. And after kind of seeing how that plays out in the past, I can make myself do it now, but it used to be so hard. I would come home early and like lay in bed and just hate everything and just not look forward to going to work tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there are days like that, definitely. And what I figured that helps me, which is not like a long-term solution, it's just like in that moment, like helps you for 5 minutes. Like, and that, I think I've seen that in some movie or something like that. I don't know. But like, they're like, if you feel anxious and you don't want to, for example, in sales, you don't want to do that conversation, there's no motivation to go there and sell. And you're just in a bad mood because you're just human being, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, there's a trick. They're like, just smile in the mirror and smile for 5 seconds. There's no way that your body's not going to respond to that.
Yeah.
And I've tried that and it works.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not saying that's a solution in
Yeah.
the long term, right? It's just, but like some time to time, like there is a trick to kind of trick your brain.
Yeah. I haven't tried that. I need to try that.
Try that and let me know.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely going to try that. You just made me think of something funny. It's kind of dumb, but I saw this thing the other day that's like the headband theory. It's really for girls, but it's like girls in sales wear a headband. No one can say no to a girl wearing a headband. It's like they just look too cute wearing a headband. No one can say no to a girl in a headband. I don't know. I guess I feel like it makes them look younger, but I just think that's funny. That reminded me of that. But yeah.
But like, do you feel like maybe if you don't feel comfortable talking about it, just tell me, right? So do you feel that in sales, people kind of clients, they have different approach to you because you're a girl or versus some of your male colleagues? Do you have maybe more success or less success because you're a girl?
Wow.
I've never.
Good question.
Wasn't in my questions, but like just kind of remember that.
I feel like lots of guys, especially in my industry, see the girls and they're like, oh, they automatically just do better because they're girls. I've seen so many guys in my industry do so well. The ones that like really apply themselves, like, I don't know. I feel like it could go many different ways. I mean, I don't want to get like canceled in any way, but I don't know. Like, I feel men can kind of bring a sort of presence to a meeting. I mean, some men will only listen to other men. I mean, have I run into that a few times? Yes. You just got to brush it off. I mean, as crazy as it may seem in the world we live in, it happens all the time. I've had men say rude things to me. I've had ladies be rude to me too. Really just depends on the people, and kind of just the presence and the knowledge that you bring to the conversation. So I don't know. I'm kind of just in the middle because I've seen guys, like one of the guys in my business, like I look up to a guy at my company and he's my age, started at the same time as me, and he just does so much better. Like his sales are just bigger than mine, he sells more than me. And, he is one of the very few guys that is still around. We have like national start dates. We all start on the same day. He's one of the only guys in my start class that's still around, and he's crushing it way more than all of us. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, but also, I feel like you can get in that trap comparing yourself with somebody else, which I'm not saying that's what you're just generally speaking, right? And then you compare, because for example, like I'm a slow learner.
Yeah.
I have to understand the concept, and
Yeah.
then once I do understand the concept, then I'm crashing it,
Me
right?
too. Mm-hmm.
And it takes me usually like, I don't know, 3 to 6 months to figure
Yeah.
that out. And people at the beginning, people who are teaching me, they're like, "Oh my God, you're super slow." And I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry for that."
No.
But that's how I am. Maybe there are
Yeah.
some people who are doing exact same thing, the way how they understand stuff, how
Yeah.
they're figuring it out. But maybe they just do faster than I do. But in my mind, I always have to understand the concept behind.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I have to know almost every single answer, possible
That's how I feel too.
answer to any possible question,
Yeah.
to feel really comfortable talking about
I see
something.
people battle with that a lot, especially the like, I mean, we sell different things for the most part, but you know, like when like newer reps come in, they're so worried about talking to someone because they don't feel like they know all the answers. That's kind of different from what you were saying, but you know, it's about, you know, just going in there and asking questions to start out. But kind of back to what you were saying, I'm trying to think. What was the it
Yeah,
was the
I was asking more about that part, like uh, you're just not not comfortable about
learning.
learning.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I lost that
No,
part
that's fine. I
somewhere.
was just like how
Um,
to reframe
yeah,
the question, but you know what I mean.
yeah. Hang on, we might have to cut some of this part out. So wait, say that again. When you were learning, like a slower learner. I had something
Yeah,
I was gonna
so I
say
have
with
to
it.
understand the concept first. Like, it takes me time. You know, I want to understand like this product, everything about that product, and then how that product connects with maybe other product that we have.
Mm-hmm.
What problems do we solve with all this stuff? Who is the ideal client for that? Why would they need that? So
Yeah,
once I have, and there are some people who are like, yeah, just give me like brief information
yeah,
about certain stuff. I'm just gonna go and talk to people how difficult
yeah,
that can be, right?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's not me.
Yeah, yeah. That I kind of learned that early on. Like you can't, I don't know, I was that way too. Like I wanted to know all the answers. I wanted to know, and then you know, you would go in there and you would get questions and you had to pull the whole, oh, I'll ask my manager, like that
Yeah.
stuff can be scary. But I don't know, I've learned along the way, like you just learn as you go. First of all, this is what I was going to ask you. Do you feel like you learn more from experience and kind of going out there and doing it rather than someone just like, let's say you were selling a new product and I just sat here and told you everything about the product? Would you learn more just like taking what I'm saying and then going out and trying to sell it? Or would that kind of go in one ear, out the other? You save half the information, then you go out and try. Like personally for me, like I can sit in front of a screen and do training all day. I'm going to learn a lot more if I'm out there sitting with the person, hands-on doing the whole process and maybe falling on my face. But once I fall on my face, I don't make that mistake again.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, that's 100% because like, and that is actually what's going on there, right? That
Yeah.
kind of nonsense. Because at least in my case, I'm trying to learn as much as I can, but as you just said, like
Yeah.
doesn't stick with me that much.
Yeah.
And then once you really go with a client, you have like a real situation, and you go through some specific, like a almost like a case study, right?
Yeah.
Then there's no way to forget that
Exactly.
situation again, which obviously you have to be as prepared as much as you can
Yeah.
for client and for meetings, but it's just not possible when you're new in some job, right?
Yeah. Do you have just like a vivid memory of all the times you've really messed up? Like
Oh my gosh,
the
yeah.
sales mind, you never forget. Like you can do 1,000 things right. You do one thing wrong or have like one bad conversation, does not leave your mind. It
Yeah,
haunts
I mean,
you.
you dream about that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Like I don't know why we're like that. I also have like a bank in the back of my head of everyone that's ever told me no. I don't know if you're like that too.
yeah, 100%.
But
And
like
then you're think like, what could I do different? What did I mess up, or is it something personal, or
Yeah.
was it not? Now it's not as much as it used to be. But I mean, I
Yeah.
started doing working in sales when I was 17. Now I'm
Wow.
31, so
Mhm.
it's been a while. But yeah, I obviously still struggle with some of these things,
Yeah.
but not as much as when I was young. Like
Yeah.
that was horrible.
Yeah. I think I try to keep the mindset of like a no is just a not right now. And
Mhm.
like right now, even at time, you know, I could cold call off lists all day, but what I've been doing a lot of right now is really just coming back around on those no's And it's honestly scary for me. Like, I've had people that were super rude to me, said no, never call me again. Like, I even had, I'm just thinking of this guy off the top of my head. Like, we went through a whole process. He was ready. Like, he came to me. He was like, I want this, wanted like one of our, top packages, all the things that came with it. And then he was like, I want to wait a month. Time kills deals. We get to that month and I'm like, all right, like, this is what I need for me to get started. And he's like, oh no, I'm gonna go with someone else. And I'm like, bro, what?
What's going on?
What happened?
But do you think that there is part of some mistake that we as a salespeople do in terms of when somebody comes to you as a really hot lead and they're like, yeah, I want to do it like that person happened to you, right? So he came to you and then you kind of skip your regular procedures.
Yeah.
And that happens a lot.
Yeah.
And you're just, this is easy deal. You feel like it's almost closed. No, what I learned is like you have to approach, if your mom comes to you and she's like, I want to buy your product, you're like, okay, why do you qualify your mom? Right?
Yes.
Don't be like, just see,
this
like,
is the price.
do
you
everything
go.
that you have, that you're doing with person that you're cold calling, you're approaching for the first time. The way you work with these people, do exact same thing, adjust a little bit, but
that's something I'm trying to get better at.
Respect procedure, right?
Yeah, last year, I mean, it's just, you always kind of have to like feel out the scenario and where they're at, because I work with small business owners. Lots of them don't have a lot of time. They don't want to deal with what I do. They want a quick and easy and usually cheap solution. So like, luckily, I believe a lot in my product and my company, and I'm very confident in it. I feel like it kind of backs itself up, but sometimes people don't want that. They just want the cheapest, quickest thing, and that's hard. At that point, I'm just selling them on Sara and why they should buy from me rather than just like the AI version and have something that can do it themselves. Like, I don't know.
Huge enemy in competition, like in any industry, is AI. Everyone thinks that they can do with AI anything, right?
Yeah.
So do you use AI in your job?
We do. Yeah, we started this year. I use it some. I love to rely, I'm kind of old school in a way where I love to rely on just like warm referrals and like the relationships that I've made. Like, I'm not afraid to call like my current clients and be like, hey, who else do you know that I could help out? Like, and just be honest with them about that. But it does come down. I've actually seen a lot of recent success in AI. My company kind of has their own AI platform built out, which is cool. I don't know if you guys have anything like that or what you...
No, I do use some stuff from library to find some prospects and stuff like that. But other than that, not much.
Yeah.
I mean, that my industry is kind of specific. It's like no one wakes up and they're like, what benefits for my employees I can buy today.
Sometimes
happen, but it usually comes through
something
referrals.
Has to happen. Yeah,
so that's why.
No one ever wakes up and wants payroll, you know what I mean?
Unless
like, they're starting their business.
You want payroll for to go.
I think I want payroll today.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking about as we were talking a minute ago. Like, you have to find a way to stay top of mind, and people get so annoyed, but you got to make your money somehow too.
Oh yeah.
I've learned, like, you can be honest with business owners too. Like, you can joke around with it. Like, there's people, I work with a lot of CPAs and accountants, and I was scared of them at first. I was like, they deal with taxes. That's scary. That's what, a lot of my reps, that's how they feel now. Or like bankers, they're like, oh, they're a banker. Like, that's scary too. Like, they're just people, like my mom was a CPA and now she's just my mom, so the more you talk to them like that, I don't know, they'll want to refer Marco for Marco or Sara for Sara.
100%.
Yeah.
But that was for me when I was working as a tour guide, and what happened to me, it's super interesting. So I was on I don't know how you call that here in US, but like at the end of the, like last year in high school, 4th year, like we would have that kind of final trip, and we would go to Spain most of the time.
Wow.
Like most of our generation from my high school would go to Spain, and we were also one of these. And so I was at that excursion.
Yeah.
And very next year, I was a tour guide.
Yeah.
And that was the moment for me because just a year before that, I was looking at my teachers like, oh my God, these people are the smartest people ever. They know everything. What they say, that's 100% how it is. And then when I, just year after I finished high school, I I had chance to meet these people like in unofficial environment
Yeah.
and to talk to them. And now I'm the one guiding them, and
Yeah.
they have to cooperate with me.
Yeah.
And then you hear questions that they ask you, you're like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
seriously? Like, I thought that you're the smartest person ever.
Yeah.
So yeah, the long story short, like what I want to say, I don't want to say that somebody is not smart. I just want to say that at the end of the day, we are all, again, humans. For some reason, I'm repeating this sentence like a lot in this episode, but somehow we are talking about that part. But that is really important to figure out that we are just all humans, and they might know, for example, like CPA, they know their area really good.
Yeah.
Like bank people, he knows finance, but he doesn't know maybe payroll, what is the best software to buy, how to manage that part. You're an expert, right?
Exactly.
And once you have that mindset, I feel like
You're so right.
what was also interesting now, not to take over the time, but kind of just to give you kind of background why I'm saying certain stuff. When I was working real estate in Serbia during COVID, and that was like, because that was my part-time job, and during COVID turned to my main focus for a year or two. And people would walk in our agency and they would be like, hey, I want to see that house, this apartment, that property, whatever. All of us, including me, we would just go and show them, waste the whole day, come back. They're like, hey, there's no sales. What did they say? They're going to call me at some point.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I'll
that
call
usually
you.
means
I'll email
no.
you back.
And
Send me some info.
And then what our director told us, she's like, no, listen, like, you're going to have a bunch of clients today, right?
Yeah.
People are going to walk in, ask a bunch of questions. They have to convince you why you have to take your time from your schedule to go around and tell them. They have to qualify also as a client.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to be rude to them, but you have to have at least that mindset. And with that mindset, different questions are coming, right questions are coming.
You
and
have
do you have
to,
that part, like
you have to keep in mind your own self-worth, and you got to have some self-respect. Like when I first started, and what I see people dealing with now is, they'll finally get someone on the phone, they'll set a meeting with them. We do lots of our meetings in person or virtual. I mean, we do a lot of virtual now, and they'll get ghosted. The person won't show up. It's like, they were so excited. I was so excited about like my first meeting, and I showed up and they're not there.
Oh my gosh,
you call them again, you get it rescheduled, they don't show up again. You have to like have your, you gotta they need to respect your time. You have to have some self-respect, and like, it's okay to say to people like, hey, we've rescheduled this twice now, or like, you said you would go through with this twice now, like, is this still something you're interested in? If not, like, totally fine, but I have a busy schedule. Like, I'm gonna move on to the next, because I have a lot of people that do want this, that are meeting with me, and like, you're taking that time away. Don't say it like that. That's kind of rude.
But that's kind of the message in a nice way you have to kind of
send. I mean, like, and it kind of goes back to like lots of the stuff you learn when you first start selling, like, hey, are you free at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock? Okay, well, I'm not free any other time. Just kind of showing that that you're busy, even when, like, if you're first starting out, you're not busy at all. Heck, you got all day.
You gotta act a little bit.
But I'm only free at 1 o'clock tomorrow. Like, can you meet then? I don't know. You got to keep that. Don't let people push you around. Like, and it's a numbers game too. If someone's gonna keep doing that and like push you off or be rude to you, like, on to the next. Like, something that I've learned, as much as I like, the more I've learned to be myself through this job, the more I've made it a numbers game, just because like, I'm not gonna chase after someone and seem desperate and like lose myself in that process. You know?
I mean,
like,
you have to detach from your ego, but at the same time, some self-respect is also good.
Yeah, exactly. You do have to detach from your ego. You're not wrong. Like, I'm following up with a lot of people right now that have told me no, and like I said, I'm scared, but I'm like, I just don't like to lose, and I want to get them at some point.
That's awesome. I love that mindset.
Yeah, so
really
I'll call them back, because why not?
Like, would you suggest people who, actually kids, but who are getting out of college to jump in sales, or would you advise any other job but not sales?
I think it depends on the person. When I first started sales, I was like, oh, everyone should try sales at some point. Some people just don't have the personality for sales. Like, they are good, they're good with tech. They are, everyone kind of has their own lane. I do think if you have somewhat of a personality, like, I don't know. I think about the restaurant business. Like my dad used to always say, like everyone should work in the restaurant business. I never did that. I work in sales now. You're kind of selling yourself in the restaurant business, though. From what I don't. Have you ever worked in a
I
restaurant?
mean, I did actually
Yeah.
when I was on college.
Yeah.
But yeah, but nowadays, like it seems you should sell your service. But now when you have to tip for every single thing,
Yeah.
you're like
You're like selling yourself. You're like, let me fill up
yeah, like
your 1/4 empty water. You
yeah,
know?
you're like just made me a coffee, and now you're asking me to tip on top of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's complete nonsense. But in restaurant, I see like you have to if you pair my steak in wine, if you suggest me
Yeah.
what, okay, I'm gonna tip you, and
Yeah.
waiter is a salesperson, 100%.
Yeah.
But there are some people nowadays I see that they're just expect to be tipped in the restaurant,
Mhm.
and they're, I mean,
True.
she didn't do anything to give you extra
Yeah.
service than what you already had and that you
Yeah.
already paid for.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it stinks because, like I said, I never worked at a restaurant, but I know that like you're mainly relying on tips. So
Hmm.
I don't know. Maybe we should talk to some of the managers of restaurants. Like you got to hire people with big
Yeah,
personalities, or
100%.
people that are going to sell your food and stuff. I don't know. But
And
yeah.
and like now we are like have a few more minutes, but you're working for a while in fitness industry.
Yeah.
Now you're completely opposite. Now people you're in numbers, payroll, and all this stuff.
Mhm.
Um, do you still work out and kind
Mhm.
of maintain that part of your life?
Yeah, I have to. Otherwise, I will go insane.
Hmm.
So I will say that balance was really hard for me because I mean, I came out of being a college athlete too. Like I was in practice from 5 to 8 a.m. every morning and then working out after and walking to class and just moving all the time. And then football games are X amount of hours on a Saturday. You're moving the whole time. So then I was driving a lot, at a desk training, sitting down with people, eating with people. And just working really hard the first 2 years. Like I said, like sometimes on my computer till 7. It's like, when do I create that time for me? So that's something that's taken me a while to figure out, and I'm trying a lot of different things. But what I do know is that like when I don't move, I don't feel like myself. So
Yeah.
and I live in the city, so I can't necessarily like walk out of my front door and just go for a walk. I like have to put in the effort to like go to a park where I feel safe and go for a walk there, drive to the gym. I'm in a house, so I don't have like an apartment gym. I actually was selling and coaching at the same time for a minute when I first came here. I don't know if I told you that, but
No.
yeah, I worked at an Orange Theory here for a while, and I loved it because that's when I hadn't really like become Sara through my sales process. I kind of felt like I was just truly a salesperson and not Sara. But then when I coached, I already knew how to do that, so it was fun, and I felt like me again.
That's awesome.
But then I just got too busy on the sales side, which is it's a blessing. It's a great problem to have, So I stopped. But through that, I've kind of been able to take that back over and go to the gym and get back to lifting weights and taking care of myself. So.
That's 100%. But like you mentioned that you're a religious person and you work out. So basically, like your spiritual part is important, your health is important.
Yeah.
Obviously, business is super important, and like it's super hard to balance all this stuff.
So
And at the
hard.
same time, can you handle all that and not handle, but can you practice all these three things at the same time on a
Yeah.
daily basis, or
Mhm.
you there are some times when you're like business is my main occupation,
Mm.
you forget about God and fitness and stuff like that, and then
Mhm.
sometimes you're like more in training mode when there's no business, or how do
Yeah.
you handle day to day that part?
So I've learned to be okay with the inconsistency of it, and that really bothered me at first. Because I was like, okay, I need to like write out my schedule every single day and stick to it. But with my sales job, like sometimes I work with truckers that can only meet when they're done driving at 8 p.m. So if I
Mhm.
went to sale, I'm taking a call at 8 p.m. Maybe that means I stop work at 3 to go work out. So every day is kind of different right now. The faith part, that's a priority. So like I am, always keeping my routine, praying in the morning, praying at night, talking to God throughout the day. That's a priority of mine that does not go anywhere. So yeah, I always have that, but the sales and workout side is a part that, it's inconsistent, but through it, I've kind of learned, like I have a Pilates place that I go to that, if I do get done with all my work, I have that class every day at this time that I can drop into. If I work a little later, then I have a gym that I'm a part of. So like I always have an option. I always have a workout bag in my car, whether I know if I'm getting home early or not. So like always just being prepared for that, so I can continue to take care of myself.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So we're gonna finish here, and I just want to thank you basically that you came here, that you supported my beginning of my podcasting.
Awesome.
And hopefully, like down the road, you're gonna come back again, and we're gonna talk about different stuff. And I mean, a lot of things going on.
Yeah.
And is there anything that you want to say for the end that we didn't cover, or we kind of covered the most of the things?
Oh, wow. I mean, I think a lot of what we talked about is consistency, but at the same time, just like, always never stop learning, never be like confident that you know everything, like continue to learn, continue to like explore just new interests and just different parts of yourself, just whether that's through your job or your routine or whatever you're doing. We're always constantly learning. Never be complacent in what you're doing, I guess. Just keep going. Foot on the gas, no brakes.
You're in Nashville, baby. Just rock it.
No matter where you are.
Yeah.
But thank you for having me. This has been so
Of
much
course.
fun.
It's
so
been
cool.
a pleasure. Thank you very much. See you guys next week. Bye.